Welcome, everyone, to the John Kentera Show, San Diego Sports Talk on YouTube. Boy, we had a great show on Wednesday night, a great live show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Just continue to grow our podcast, and just want to remind you, if you're maybe tuned in for the first time, would certainly appreciate if you'd subscribe to our channel. And also, you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. We're doing 3 per week. We do some on tape and we do some live, but I can tell you this, during the Padre playoff run, we'll be doing several live. So stay tuned. And this is the place, if you want to gain baseball knowledge, know what's going on with the ball club, this is definitely the place to be. So we thank you very much, and we'll get rolling. Well, as we sit here on a Friday, going into the final regular season weekend, the San Diego Padres are sitting in great shape. They've got a 3-game lead right now in the National League Wildcard with 3 games to go. They're going over to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks 3 games back. And, you know, what's kind of interesting here, the 2 teams have split their 10 meetings so far, 5-5. Arizona would have to win all 3 games to get the number 1 wild card over our Padres. And I don't think that's going to happen. And we're going to get into the pitching matchups. Padres have made some changes to the rotation in Arizona. We'll tell you about that. But I want to go back and talk a little bit about Thursday night's ball game against the Los Angeles Dodgers. After the Padres lost a tough one the night before, kind of an interesting series. The Padres very well could have lost all 3, or they could have won all 3. You go back to Tuesday night, they turned the triple play when the Dodgers were rallying in the 9th inning. They get out of there. They clinch a wild card spot. They come back Wednesday night, lose a tough ball game. And at the end of the day, the Dodgers just were a little bit better than the Padres in those 2 games. Thursday night, Dodgers down 2-0. Joe Musgrove having just a marvelous outing. Boy, Joe's throwing the ball so well. But he gives up a 2-run homer to Will Smith, ties the ball game. He stayed in for another batter. They brought in Tanner Scott, and Tanner Scott got beat up pretty good. 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs. Tatis had a throwing error. We had a catcher's interference. And when the dust settled, the Dodgers were leading 5-2. They eventually got a 2-run homer later in the ball game, and that was all she wrote. 7-2 Dodgers. They out-hit the Padres on Thursday night, 11-8. Padres committed a couple of errors with Tatis's throw to third base and the catcher's interference. Padres also left 7 runners on base Thursday night, and they were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. On the other hand, Dodgers left 8 runners on base, and they hit 300. They were 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position. You know, you look at the Dodger ball club, and they're really, I think, in dire straits. I think the Padres, in my opinion, are in much better position going into the postseason with their starting pitching. And we're going to get into the Padres starting pitching. And, you know, Walker Buehler on a Thursday night, you know, he was okay. It really was probably as good an outing as he's had all year for the Dodgers. Now, remember, he was coming off his second Tommy John surgery. And he had a strong start. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, a walk, a strikeout. Doesn't have that put-away pitch right now, and was really lobbying. Actually, he was lobbying after the 4th inning to go out there and pitch the 5th inning, and he gave up the run, and he still wanted to go back out there in the 6th, and Dave Roberts said, no, that's enough. And Dave Roberts' bullpen's really good. You know, I don't think they have the electricity coming out of the bullpen until they get to Michael Kopech. And if Blake Trinan's right, Blake Trinan, man, that ball moves all over the place. It's crazy. But I think the Padres, their guys, I think, have more electric stuff, but they're not as consistent as the Dodger relief corps. I mean, Evan Phillips didn't have a great night on Thursday, but he's a guy that's been a proven closer. They're using him in a variety of roles now. Anthony Banda, who they just brought off the IL, he pitched very well and got the win on Thursday night. Blake Trinan was solid. Kopech came in, gave up 1 hit in the 9th inning, but closed it out. They've got, I think, electric stuff down in the bullpen, but they are just more consistent. And the Padres, I think, as good as stuff as they have coming out of that bullpen, They're a little bit more up and down, not quite as consistent, but more electricity, I think. But at the end of the day, it's who can get the job done on that given day. But nonetheless, Padres still won the season series. They match up really well with the Dodgers, and I really think Dave Roberts, Andrew Friedman, they've got some real serious issues going into the postseason. I mean, Jack Flaherty's got to be their number one starter, and then Yoshinobu Yamamoto probably number two. I really don't know what the Dodgers are going to do, nor did I really care. But they're going to have to rely heavily on that bullpen. Padres, on the other hand, are sitting in great shape. They're going to Arizona. They got to get at least one win. The Mets and Braves got 5 games left. We'll talk about that a little bit. Of course, they've got that big doubleheader in Atlanta on Monday that's going to get underway 10:10 Pacific Coast time. I'll be tuned into that one. But the Padres win a game, they're more than likely going to be the number one seed. I mean, the Mets would have to win all 5. And if the Padres can win one game in Arizona, they're in great shape. They're in great shape for the number one wild card, hosting a game on Tuesday at Petco Park. But, going back to the game on Thursday night, my biggest concern with the Padres right now is Luis Arraez. And, we'll talk about him in a minute. But I want to get everybody kind of caught up on everything that's going on. Also, I wanted to mention just a couple of things that are coming down the pike this weekend. Charlie Blackmon, the great outfielder for the Colorado Rockies, he announced his retirement after 14 years. What a pro. Guy won a National League batting title, had a great career, right around a 290 career hitter, and done a great job there in Colorado for so many years. And maybe the best walk-up song in baseball. I always enjoyed his walk-up song. The fans get involved. But he's hanging it up. And I would imagine a lot of people tuning into my podcast followed the story with the Oakland Athletics. And I sent Mark Kotze a note, and I got a note back from Kotz last night. They beat Bruce Bochy in the final game at the Oakland Alameda Coliseum on Thursday afternoon. They won 3-2. Very emotional. Last game they're going to play in Oakland. They're moving to Sacramento probably for the next 2 years, and then they're supposed to move to Vegas. And, Rob Manfred, the commissioner, not a big fan. John Fisher, the owner, the second coming of Dean Spanos, moving his team out of that town. They could have found a way to keep it there. But Mark Kotze, he's always undermanned with his roster. He doesn't have a great roster, but his kids play hard. They get better. They always have a losing record, but, it's kind of like Colorado. They play hard for their manager, Buddy Black in Colorado, Mark Kotze in Oakland, but they just don't have enough. But it was very emotional. Kotz was very emotional, sent him a nice message. He got back to me. I was really surprised how quickly he got back to me after the game yesterday. But I wish him well. And he's a guy that lives here with his family in San Diego. Hopefully we'll see him during the off season. We're going to talk about Luis Arraez here in a minute, but I want to get you caught up as we go into Friday. Boy, it's going to be an unbelievable weekend. I want to talk a little bit about the standings. Let's bring the wild card standings up right now. We'll take a good hard look at those and kind of break those down. Again, you've got a lot of things in play. Namely, it really kind of comes down to the Padres and what the Mets are going to do. And, of course, Colorado, they want to do some damage. But, starting on Friday, the National League wild card standings. San Diego Padres sitting at 91-68, 3 games up right now. The New York Mets with 5 games to play, 87-70. Arizona, 88-71. Neck and neck. Of course, the Diamondbacks just playing their final 3 games against our Padres. The Atlanta Braves, a game back, sitting right now at 86-71. Now, the weekend, we know the Padres are in Arizona. The New York Mets are going to be in Milwaukee to take on the Brew Crew, who have already clinched the NL Central. You got to wonder how Pat Murphy's going to play that out. Knowing Pat Murphy, he's going to put a good ball club out there because he respects the game of baseball a great deal. And Atlanta will host Kansas City. Kansas City going to get in as a wild card. Boy, the Minnesota Twins, they just went south in a hurry. So they're going to be out of it. So Atlanta hosts Kansas City. The Mets visit Milwaukee. And then, of course, on Monday, the doubleheader, Mets in Atlanta. First game at 10:10. The second game will be 40 minutes later. Okay, I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supply. And, I've been out and about a little bit the last couple of nights. Friday night, I'm going to the Poway Rodeo. Looking forward to that. I haven't been to a rodeo in a long time. But Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supply, this is a great time. I mean, the weather's changing. You can go in there. You want to get things started. You want to work in your garden. You want to, build it up. Probably a fairly decent time of year. Things aren't so hot and humid out there. But the great thing about Grangetto's, they have people on site. They got 3 great locations in Escondido, Fallbrook, and Encinitas. And they've got people on site that know what to do. I mean, they got the pros going in there asking for advice. And it's expert advice. The other thing, they do it with a smile on their face. They don't charge you up the yin-yang. Very affordable pricing. And if you've never been to a Grangetto's, I'm telling you, you talk to anybody that's ever gone, they're going to tell you nothing but great things. And I got to tell you this, they run a tight ship. They want their customers completely 100% satisfied. What I'd like you to do, I'd like you to go onto their website, grangettos.com. Sign up for their newsletter. It's fantastic. I've learned a lot. I really have learned a lot. And I thought I knew a lot about working on a ball field, which I think I do. But, boy, there are little things here and there. If you got a little league field, pony league field, high school field, college field, there are little things that can make a big difference. And Grangetto's can give you a lot of those tips. So go to their website, sign up for their newsletter. Sign up for their newsletter. It comes twice a month in your email. And believe me, you won't be disappointed that you did that. So, again, go to their website, Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supply, grangettos.com, and they'll take good care of you. Okay, I mentioned Luis Arraez. Now, a week ago, and I'll be the first one to raise my hand, I thought he was going to walk away with the batting title. He was hitting .322, hotter than a baker's apron, and all of a sudden that hand that's been troubling him all year, and they're talking about he's going to need to have surgery probably in the offseason. He has gone completely in the tank. And this isn't about him just winning a batting title, folks. This is about him getting on base and being a table setter for the Padres right now. You know that he did not have a hit in the Dodgers series. He was 0 for 12. And you go back to his last 28 at-bats, and he's 2 for 28. 2 for 28. Now, here's a guy that doesn't strike out, puts the ball in play. He's 2 for 28. You watch him foul off a ball. You watch him hit a ball to center field, and he's wringing that hand. I don't know. Maybe he's in the lineup on Friday night. Now, again, Chase Field is a hitter's haven. I talked to a lot of managers and especially pitching coaches. They don't like that ballpark at all. They'd rather play at Coors Field. I mentioned that on our live podcast on Wednesday night. They'd rather play at Coors Field, even though the outfield's bigger. The ball scoots through the infield in Chase Field. But that works out well for Luis Arraez because he hits a lot of ground balls. But 2 for his last 28. His average has gone from .322 down to .312. And Marcell Ozuna, who's having a monster year power-wise, average-wise with Atlanta, he's hitting .310 going into the game on Friday. And he got 5 opportunities, 5 games left. So, I mean, I want to see Luis Arraez. He's had a really good year. I don't want the injury to cost him his 3rd consecutive batting title. But more than that, you got to get that guy ready to roll. And, again, he's going to have to play with some pain. He's been playing with pain, but he's going to have to play with it, and he's going to have to fight through it, and he's going to have to be productive. Because if he can't get on base at the top of the lineup, you can't rely on a bunch of home runs. Because against good pitching, you're just not going to hit a whole lot of home runs. It's not like you're going against the 4th and 5th starter. So you got to get Luis Arraez at least to where he can get back on track and get something rolling. But 0 for 12 in the Dodgers series, 2 for his last 28. Oh, man. You know what? I don't care how good a team you have or you think you have. There's always problems, even when you're winning. I don't care. You can look at the Dodgers. Dodgers win the division. They got as many wins as anybody in baseball, and they got all kinds of problems. Running a ball club at any level, and I may be talking to you little league coaches, you pony league coaches, high school, college, semi-pro, Sunday adult league. every team, there's no perfect team. In this time of year, it's the old war of attrition. There's no question about that. And the Padres, though, relatively are healthy. I mean, everything's going well. And even on going back to Thursday night, Freddie Freeman rolled his right ankle. They're hoping he can get back for the division series now. Can you imagine the Dodgers scrambling for starting pitching and not having their big first baseman? That would be something. That would be definitely something. And Freddie Freeman hasn't had the great year that he normally has. Hitting right around 280, got some power numbers, got some RBIs, good on base percentage, but he's missing a lot of good fastballs, and they're throwing the ball by him. But you know what, a guy like that talent, he can turn things around in a heartbeat. But got to get him healthy. Ankle problem. Okay, I want to tell you about one of our other sponsors, and you know what? I know on the weekends, this is where a lot of people go, looky-loos for houses. Well, the people you want to talk to and have them point you in the right direction is yourreliablehomebuyers.com. A great company. They've been at it for over 23 years. They've stood the test of time more than anything else. Why do you want to choose them? Because they're honest, they're upfront, and they're going to tell you everything you need to know, folks. Expertise and reliability, you got to love it. Hey, I'm all about reliable people I can trust and people I don't have to go in and kind of vet them and say, man, I hope this guy's taking me down the right path. Well, let me tell you, yourreliablehomebuyers.com, as good as it gets. If you're looking to buy, sell, they'll get you cash immediately. And they'll buy your house even if it's ugly. They'll buy your house. I want you to go and give them a call, and maybe meet them somewhere tomorrow or Sunday if you want to go out and look at homes. Give them a call at 858-422-4116, 858-422-4116, or you can visit them at yourreliablehomebuyers.com. And again, make sure when you do give them a call, tell them Coach John Kentera sent you. Okay, we're going to get to the pitching matchups. Now, I want to tell you in advance on these pitching matchups, it's going to be fluid. The Padres made a change. Martin Perez was scheduled to go on Friday night. Right now, we don't know when he's pitching. I'm sure he will pitch this weekend, but right now, with the changes the Padres have made, they're going to go with Yu Darvish. Darvish originally was scheduled to pitch Saturday, but they're going to go with Darvish on Friday night. Darvish 6-3 on the year with a 3.18. He'll go against the veteran Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly has had a rough year. He's been hurt, but when he's pitched, he's been outstanding. Merrill Kelly, 5-0 and a 3.71 so far this year, but again, hasn't pitched a lot. Missed his last start with a calf cramp. But lifetime against the Padres, he's been nails. I mean, he's been a Padre killer. He's 9-3 with a 3.05 ERA in 15 career starts against the Padres. So that's going to be the matchup on Friday night. Now, Saturday, we don't know what they're going to do. It could be Martin Perez. I would think who probably would, but again, we'll wait and see. If the Padres win, they're going to do something and clinch that number one spot. They're not going to throw any of their frontline guys. Who knows? They may call some guy up from AAA to Matt Waldron may get called back up. If somebody needs to go on the IL for a couple of days, maybe they bring up Matt Waldron or, Randy Vasquez. We'll see. But Martin Perez right now, we don't know when he's going to pitch. Saturday for Arizona, they're going to go with the left-hander Eduardo Rodriguez, the former Detroit Tiger and Boston Red Sox, 3-4 and a 5.56. He hadn't pitched a lot this year either. And then Sunday, originally Michael King was scheduled to throw. That was if the Padres were in dire straits. But I got to believe Michael King's thrown game one of the wild card. He's been the most consistent Padre pitcher all year long. And I'd go with Michael King. Musgrove is pitching great. Cease, little more give and take with him. He can be outstanding, but he also can be off his game. Not a lot of middle ground with Dylan Cease the way I see it. Maybe you look at it a little bit different. Give me a comment in our little box on YouTube. I'd like to hear what you think. But I've been saying for 2 weeks that I would go with Michael King in game one, Dylan Cease game two, and Joe Musgrove game three. And then you got to figure out where Darvish is going to go. If you get through the wild card round and maybe you go 3 games, then he throws the first game of the NLDS. But Michael King's been fantastic. I know he's far exceeded his innings pitched, but man, the guy got good command, overpowering at times, done an incredible job, really an incredible job. For Arizona on Sunday, they're going to go with Brandon Pfaadt. So right now, Brandon Pfaadt, 10-10 and a 4.80, but he's pitched well against the Padres a few times. He's still a very young pitcher. But, going back to Friday night, it's going to be Yu Darvish going against Merrill Kelly, Rodriguez, Eduardo going for Arizona Saturday, Brandon Pfaadt on Sunday. And again, the Padres, they're up in the air, really for Saturday and Sunday, depending on what happens on Friday night. So you're caught up because the Padres made that change late last night or in the early morning hours of today. Okay, let's talk a little bit about college football, folks. Aztecs had a bye last week. They got a lot of work to do. They're going on the road. They're going to be at Short Stadium in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. They're going against Central Michigan Chippewas. Central Michigan Chippewas. I always think about that as a kid growing up listening to Dick Enberg. He was so proud of Central Michigan, the Chippewas. That's where he went to college, and what a great man Dick Enberg was. Miss him dearly. Their head coach, Jim McElwain, 6-year, 31-30, former head coach at Colorado State, spent time as a head coach at University of Florida, got the Chippewas off to a 2-2 start, 1-0 in Mid-America Conference play. The old MAC. Aztecs sitting at 1-2. The Chippewas, a 2.5-point favorite. We'll see what the Aztecs can get done. They've had 2 weeks to get prepared for this game. They've got to find an offense. I don't know if Danny O'Neill's going to make the start. That's been a little bit iffy. He missed the last game. And like I've said, this program with the Aztecs, you can't evaluate Sean Lewis. I'll tell you one thing I'm going to evaluate this week. They got to cut down on penalties. I mean, they've had 39 penalties in their first 3 games. Unacceptable. And really the only way you stop that is by bearing down in practice. And if a guy commits a penalty and he's a repeat offender, he comes over and finds some playing time. That tends to get guys' attention when they lose playing time. So maybe they'll bear down a little bit. Also on Saturday, Drake Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa, USD going on the road to take on the Drake Bulldogs in the Pioneer Football League opener. Torero's coming off a loss last week at North Dakota, 41-24. And the Drake Bulldogs, they were blasted last week at South Dakota, 42-3. So I think USD, Brandon Moore's put together a pretty good football team. They played a very, very difficult non-conference schedule. I think they had to fare pretty well as long as they get off to a good start in the Pioneer Football League season. I think they're going to be running right there for the title. I know they were picked way down in the conference preseason poll, but I think they're going to be okay. I really do. Also, Saturday night at the Rose Bowl, number 8 Oregon coming in to take on the UCLA Bruins. Oregon 3-0, UCLA 1-2. UCLA last week lost in Baton Rouge to LSU 34-17. And I got to keep reminding myself, this is a Big Ten matchup. That's weird. Oregon and UCLA in the Big Ten. And then Saturday afternoon at the LA Memorial Coliseum at 12:30. Wisconsin coming in 2-1. Their only loss was at home to Alabama. They had a bye last week. They're taking on number 13 USC. USC 2-1, 0-1 in Big Ten play last week. Trojans lost at the Big House to Michigan 27-24. And they really, aside from 4 defensive plays, their defense really played well. They really played well. They gave up a lot of yards on the ground, but that's because Michigan couldn't throw the ball, and they had to run it pretty much all day long. And that was a tough one. So we got the Aztecs on the road taking on Central Michigan. The Toreros on the road taking on the Drake Bulldogs. UCLA at home to play Oregon, and USC at home to go against the Wisconsin Badgers. And then Sunday, we got the National Football League. 10 o'clock Sunday morning, legendary Soldier Field. You've got the Chicago Bears hosting the LA Rams, both teams coming in at 1-2. The Rams right now a 3-point favorite. Be kind of fun to watch Caleb Williams, the former great star at Oklahoma and USC, go against the LA Rams after he spent his last 2 years in college with the USC Trojans. And then Sunday afternoon, 1:25 at SoFi Stadium, the Kansas City Chiefs roll into town 3-0, going against the LA Chargers. Chargers 2-1, lost last week at Pittsburgh. Chiefs favored by 7 right now. Justin Herbert, questionable with an ankle. They may have to go once again with Taylor Heineke as backup. And also the Chargers, Rashawn Slater, their big offensive lineman, along with that good-looking rookie, Joe Alt. They're questionable as well. Chargers already banged up. Boy, I'll tell you what. Seems like every year the Chargers, man, they always are banged up and guys are hurt. Joey Bosa also questionable. Boy, what else is new? So there you have it. Now, remember, we're going to have a live podcast on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. We'll probably go for about an hour. Sunday night at 8 o'clock, and we'll break it all down. We'll break down the American League. We'll break down the National League. We'll break down the Padre matchup of who they're going against. And we're also going to have to preview that series a little bit between the Mets and Atlanta. We may not know anything entirely until after those games are played on Monday. But again, the Padres win a game and you're sitting in the catbird seat with the number 1 seed. The Mets would have to win 5 in a row. I don't see that happening right now. They're going to be taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. I just don't see that happening. And then they've got to go against Atlanta twice in Atlanta. So I don't see them winning 5 in a row. But remember, live show on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Some numbers before we get out of here I wanted to share with you. The Padres finished the year 8-5 against the Dodgers. They're now 91-68. Their home record 45-36. Their road record going to the final 3 games over in Arizona is 46-32. The month of September, playing great ball, 14-7, and since the All-Star break, the best team in baseball, 41-19. You know, I know we were all disappointed. We were hoping the Padres could get, especially after winning the game Tuesday night the way they did on that triple play. We were hoping, man, they could sweep and go into the weekend tied for first. Well, it didn't happen. But like I said earlier, Padres, I think, are in much better shape than the Dodgers. I really do. Because it all comes down to pitching. And I think the Padres are very deep in their starting pitching. Bullpen has shown some leaks recently, but you know what? That can get turned around very, very quickly. So we'll look forward to watching the games. We'll talk to you again live, and we want your participation on Sunday night. We're getting to the time of year we absolutely love. That's why you go to spring training, you watch all the spring training games, listen to the games, watch during the regular season, head out to an excitable Petco Park night in and night out. And now we're getting into the money rounds, folks. Get a win on Friday. Get your ducks in order on Saturday, Sunday. Get an off day on Monday and get ready to tee it up in the first round, hopefully at Petco Park on Tuesday sometime. So until Sunday night, have a great Friday, a great Saturday. And again, we'll talk to you Sunday night at 8 o'clock on the John Kentera Show, the San Diego Sports Talk Radio program, and on YouTube. Have a great day. Bye-bye.